Yo, what's up, people? Let's just, so the question is, can money buy happiness? Let's put that as the question for this live. Thank you for the like. Let's just do that. Can money buy happiness? There we go. Right. So how are we doing, everybody? Hope everyone's well. Hello, Maureen. Welcome back. Thank you for the like. So, I've had 2 votes already. So, who else have we got in here? So yeah, because like people think, oh, the more money they have, the better, which I think might be true up to a point, but there seems to be a point of diminishing returns with money, and arguably beyond the point, it's not really worth the extra hassle. A lot of people end up stressing themselves out to keep making more and more money. Yeah, I'm not doing truth or dare, sorry. So some people will just keep, grinding and grinding, just burning themselves out. Live streams out there are crazy. What do you mean? Fernie says it can make you comfortable, sure, but you can be rich in other ways that aren't material. Yeah, that is true, because people will ask you if you're rich, but it's like, you could be rich in mental health. But I think it depends on like what is it that you want out of life. Like maybe, for example, if you want to be a musician or something, and you want to be able to make good music, and it might require that you have expensive equipment, and you want to be able to do all that, and it's going to require you, this could cost you thousands, maybe even more than £10,000 for a bunch of good equipment. You might want, if you want to have a bunch of different kit, maybe like a really good computer, or some other equipment like a good guitar, maybe some drums, or other bits of instruments. There's loads of other things like, that you want to buy as well, and this can end up costing quite a bit of money. So, but like I said, there is a point of diminishing returns. It comes down to, what do you really want out of life? You don't need infinite amount of money to be happy. You want to be a doctor, we'll just keep going with that. Just flicking through the live streams. Money is energy, it's the intention, how we regard it. Yeah, it comes down to like, what do we ultimately want out of life? Because so a lot of people think they want the latest iPhone or whatever, but when it comes down to it, you just want that because you want to fit in with people and, keep up with the Joneses or whatever. Hello, Pistol Pete. So, people wanting to try and keep up with the Joneses and all that. I don't know if I'm a countryside girl. What do you mean you don't know if you're a countryside girl? What do you mean you don't know if you're a countryside girl? What's that supposed to mean? I don't know. I want to feel safe and secure. Yeah. Well, that's the most important thing, that you feel safe and secure. But the thing is, it can get to a point where it's like, when people are getting greedy, and then that's arguably stepping on other people's toes at that point. When people are making billions, and, that they just become kind of leeching from society, you could argue, and that's not necessarily the best. I mean, I think I am, because we go camping, me and my family. Oh yeah. Yeah, some people find that stuff boring because they're not on there. Because they're so, like, dopamine junkies, you could call them, really. Like they get addicted to, being on their iPad or whatever. And when they've not been on that for like an hour, it's like they're panicking. It's like their dopamine is so fried to a point where, So it's not dopamine itself that's the problem. I think it's the things that we do to get dopamine, And this kind of like, we end up becoming kind of, dependent on a lot of really unhealthy habits to get dopamine, which is where it becomes problematic. When things that are detrimental to our well-being and our self-improvement and things like that, that's where it becomes problematic. Anyway, hope everybody's well tonight. And it's going a bit quiet now, I think. I don't know if who else is going to join, but yeah, it's just, but we'll see how this goes. I probably won't be staying on too much longer. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of streaming lately. It's just about trying to put the time in and stuff. That's why I want more money to flow in a steady, abundant, and dependable way, like a river from infinite source. But yeah, some might argue, well, if you think that there's a finite amount of money in the world, then that could be a self-limiting belief. You could argue that or something, but the thing is that the world is finite though, so there's finite resources in the world, so we can't have everybody be a billionaire, because it just wouldn't work, would it? Because then being a billionaire wouldn't be worth anything at that point, you see. Like, if everybody was a billionaire, then being a billionaire wouldn't mean anything. Like, we have there would be no rich people then anymore. Everybody would, like, being a millionaire being a billionaire would be like somebody being broke today. You know what I mean? There would be what it is, what you mean. Okay, Maureen. Okay. Yeah, I hope you've all had a good day, people. Welcome back. Hit that like button, everybody. Thank you. But yeah, we just have to try and find what it is we really want out of life, And you might find that you don't need that much money to live the life that you want to live. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different needs in life. Some people need more money for things like I said, if you want to become a musician and you want to, have it using your own equipment and stuff, then that can cost quite a bit of money, And also to record music professionally, you have to hire out, resources, like you have to hire out a room. That can cost a lot of money. So it can cost a lot of money, like, up front for these things, really. Hello, CPY. Hello, Moops. Hello, LM. Money make life comfortable. Yeah, but there's a point where, beyond a certain point, in my opinion, it becomes like greed. When it gets to a point where you're just so obsessed with money, but you're not actually really living your life. You just, how you Fernie? Welcome back. Eric, hi, thank you. Hope you're all well tonight. So it's like there's a fine line between being, trying to be successful and trying to be comfortable and secure and be financially free, and then there's being greedy. So, I mean, like these corporations who just do all sorts of dodgy things, they step on toes, they cut corners. Because I believe at a certain point, in order to, get more money, you have to become more and more corrupt. And I think integrity is important as a human. It's to be, I think like being rich is kind of like a test. It's like, what are you going to do with that money? If you've got billions, then I think you should probably give some of it away. In fact, you should probably give a lot of it away at that point. I think you have a duty to like actually use it to better society, rather than just to kind of use it for your own selfish gain. Because what do you actually need it for? Oh, to buy another holiday home, another 10 luxury cars. Why the fuck would you need all that, Like, why the fuck would you need all that shit, Hello, John. How you doing? Hi, L-Dog. Good to see you. It's great to give. That's what it is. It's like, in my opinion, it's not good to just be hoarding resources for yourself. because that's wastefulness, Like, to me, it's wasteful if you have all these cars and all that, and that you can't even drive all these cars all the time, right? Like, you're having all these things to try and, I don't know, feel like some kind of achievement, but that's the fleeting sense of dopamine that you get from that. 2 weeks later, you couldn't care less. It's just another car to add to your collection. I think anyone who says money can't buy happiness should be forced to be homeless for 10 years on a small town. Yeah, you're talking in extremes. We're talking about going from making, like a decent amount of money to then making insane amounts of money. Like, I think there's a point of diminishing returns when it comes to making money in terms of how well it can make you feel, is what I would argue. Oh, really, run, man. Okay. Okay. We hate greedy people, not rich people. Well, I would argue that they tend to come hand in hand a lot of the time, because usually it's the greedy ones that become rich. To be rich, in my opinion, you have to be quite greedy if you want to get to that level of being rich, I would argue, in the first place. I mean, that's just my opinion on it, but a lot of rich people are not happy. They live in fear of losing it or fake friends. Well, there is that. Like, you've got people like Mark Zuckerberg. I was thinking about this the other day, how that might be why they're just so kind of interested in self-preservation, because if they make one wrong move, they're fucked and their whole empire fails. If they just make one mistake, if they make one wrong move with their business, they're fucked. So all of these companies, that they're all desperately trying to self-preserve. So in their case, the more money gives them protection from self-destructing or something. So it's like they kind of are trapped into a situation where they have to, even if they did start off with good intentions. This is the thing, because some people say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Some people might have started some business, never expected it to get to the level that it got to. They just wanted to be an entrepreneur and be successful, but then it got to that level where they're now competing against giants, and they never thought about, like what that entails and all the competition anxiety of all that, worried that you're going to get completely just wiped out by your competition. Because they talk about you versus you, but when it comes to a business context, the whole you versus you thing is bullshit, because you're competing against other people. If you're in a similar field to other people, they could wipe you out. If you just then decide to not want to invest more money into the business and you just want to, then you could just, but I don't know, it's one of those things, isn't it? You could say, why don't they just retire or something? They're at a point where they could just retire and just have billions. They could even sell their company and let someone else take over or something. I don't know. Like, why do they just keep going? I suppose though, why keep going with it? Is it worth just keep living your life? Just keep doing this shit. I don't know. It is hello Vicky. How you doing? Stu Pat, how's it going? Happiness is on this link. What do you mean? Hello Francisca. Nice to meet you. How you doing? So what's the situation? Because talking about, with the, is it true what these ads are about, like African poverty and food and water insecurity and all that sort of stuff? Is it as bad as what these charity ads are making it out to be, or is it exaggerated? Because we were talking about that earlier. Happiness is not the goal. Well, what is the goal? I mean, I would say that the ultimate goal of life is happiness, because what is the point of life if we're not happy? You know what I mean? Sometimes we'll put ourselves through some discomfort, but we put ourselves through the discomfort to ultimately feel happy. happiness isn't going to happen all the time, but if we're overall happy, then that's positive then. And what is the point to live life just to suffer? This is what I was talking about before. Fulfillment, but it's like, what do you mean by fulfillment? Is that just a kind of sense of a neutral kind of thing? So because, I mean, what is the point to life if we're not happy with life? I don't get you. In Islam, this life is not for happiness. This life is a test. Happiness is only in paradise. So why would God do that then? It sounds psychotic to me to put people through that. I don't get it. So you're telling me that all this suffering is a test. So all these people, in really bad conditions, that God is testing them. So yeah, whatever. I know you can't be happy all the time, but I think that overall it should be mostly positive life, really. That's what I think we should be striving for, is it should be mostly positive. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? Oh, especially men shouldn't be looking for happiness. Well, I think that happiness should be the end goal of you've done all the hard work, and then you feel happy after all that. Otherwise, what's the fucking point, I might as well just kind of end it all if I'm just not going to be happy then, am I? But, it's just, it's just a lot of people put up with so much suffering, and I'm like, how do people continue? Like, there's people who are crippled, people who are in pain, somehow just keep going. But, I'm not going to accept that, though. I'm not going to just, we just got to put up with, this is what I talked about earlier, is that so many people just put up with bullshit. That's just what we've got to do as men. We just got to be stoic and just fucking put up with it. Like I say, I think it comes to a point where that's a weakness. Like, people just have no kind of backbone to actually fucking stand up and actually, because I think the system is actually what's fucking draining people. People have no fucking backbone, or they're just too complacent to actually fucking sort shit out, Like, Urban, how you doing? But then it's like, what's the point of having moments of joy just to have to go through so much pain to experience that? Might as well just not live at all, is how I see it. No, I'm not from Swansea now. This is what I kind of don't get, is like, because all of basically the negative would cancel out all the positive. This is where I question, like, what the fuck are we here for? I mean, some people are saying it's a test, but what kind of fucking psychopath tests us like that? Maybe we're in some kind of hell or something. I don't know. That's sometimes what it feels like. Hello, Sajid Khan. Bro, why are they doing everything they can to do that to us by actually doing everything they said they can do, and or doing what you're on about? Hell may be paradise, maybe. I don't think we're in paradise, that's for sure. But some people argue that you can make your own paradise or your own hell in your own mind. How about that, Purgatory, yeah, that's what some people suggest that it is. But I question, like, why would a living God put people through this? Does there need to be this much suffering and negativity? Live your life how you want, man. That's the goal. Well, yeah. I don't know. I just feel like there's got to be more to life than what people accept. I don't know. Hi, Cool Hand. Hello, Sir Mike. Maureen. Okay. Hello, Danya's. Anya. Okay. The cycle spirals in expansion. What do you mean? It can buy comfort and convenience, but not true happiness. Yeah. I suppose. Then we've got, so might say money can buy happiness 100%. Have you got an experience of that? Like, if you got a lot of money or something? Top Hat says, okay, whatever. Why is it with all these gay comments? Like saying, "Are you gay?" And what's going on? Like, it's just like, is this just some kind of like 5-year-olds or something? Just kind of, why do they keep asking me if, saying that I'm gay or whatever? I'm not gay. So what is it funny or something? I mean, do you find it funny? There you go. That's love. What's love? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. 16th of May, people. Okay. Tommy Robinson, here we go. I don't know. The hell? I don't know what the hell's going on. What's offensive? What are you talking about? What's going on in here? Anyway, 15 people in the house, welcoming everybody. If I ever make it rich, I'm going to disappear. Why? Where are you going to disappear to? Yeah, 80s fan. What do you mean, 80s fan? Oh, like 80s music. It was just the song that it reminded me of. I don't mind a few 80s songs, but yeah, sometimes it can be a bit corny, but yeah. I don't mind a few of them. Hey, Jerry, do you know that my neighbor's grandma likes to dance to 80s music? Oh yeah. If I offered you a Jet2 holiday to Mallorca, would you go? Oh god. Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. Oh god. No, I didn't have XBF. Oh, yeah. Why are you at it now? Oh, fucking hell. I don't know. I just don't find it funny. It's just, I don't know why people find that stuff funny. Why are people retracting messages? Is that a no? What do you mean, is that a no? Hang on. I mean, what the hell? I don't know. I wouldn't probably go on a holiday with some stranger that I haven't even met. Hi, Donna Collins. I'd rather corny music, not satanic music of today. I suppose a lot of the stuff like fucking whatever stuff coming out now with this degenerate lyrics and stuff, you mean like the hypersexualized. Hello, Dave Toby. What are you saying? Woke weak men hereby. What you on about? Who's woke weak men? Like, you don't know me. What are you on about? Like, is it because I was just saying, like, people asking me if I'm gay, and I'm just saying that, like, it's some kind of, like, they're trying to be funny or something. It's like, it's just not even funny. Like, it's just very immature. So I don't know if they're just some kids doing this just to try and, I don't know what it is. And yet it is people older were moaning about modern music, lol. It's always the way. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but to me though, a lot of the modern music people are projecting, I think, yeah. A lot of this music has gotten worse, I think, though. Like, you look at, say, the progression of music, from classical music to, like, what we have now. It's just, I think that the people for that would actually be turning in their graves at some of this music. Like fucking, what is it, Nicki Minaj or whatever. To me, a lot of that just, what you're saying, I don't know. Well, they could be from the US, though, couldn't they? They could be from some other country. Well, they're acting like they're some fucking 8-year-old anyway. Like, whoever thinks that shit like that's funny, that they might as well be an 8-year-old. But they might be from, like, some other country, like USA, Canada, or whatever. Like, I get people from all over the world, so we still have classical music. Yeah, true, but I'm talking about the stuff that's being released now. You would have to, like, go out your way to listen to classical music, whereas the stuff that's pumped out on the radio oftentimes is just very simple, very just kind of, and a lot of the lyrics are just very mindless, and like you got people like, what is it, Billie Eilish with just some, like, isn't like the thing with music industry and how they like promote some kind of degenerate shit, like, because they're industry kind of sponsored or something like that, if I remember. But I don't listen to radio. Okay. But I'm talking, there's been, more and more regression, and things are getting worse, is what I'm saying. If you look at 60s music, it seems to be more wholesome than it is now. Whereas you look at the music now, it's just, lower vibration. Yeah, that's what I mean. There does seem to be some change in the pop music of today. Well, I disagree. I mean, I think there's been a change in the how the vibration of the music or something. It's just, it feels kind of sinister in a way. It just sounds like you're just here to like antagonize. I'm just saying that, that's what I experience. You look at the progression, and music's more dumbed down, and the lyrics are also questionable now. But yeah, I'm not old, I'm just, I mean, there's a lot of people my age that are down with this fucking shitty modern music. I mean, even music from when I was growing up is bad enough. But like, you look at stuff, way before that seemed to be a lot more wholesome. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah, it seems like everywhere is just, I think maybe in like East they've still got some like traditional music and traditional instruments that they used to use and things. Yeah, I've heard about the 432 hertz thing. I don't know how true all that is, but I just don't like this kind of fucking shit that they're bringing out now. I mean, I'm quite into like a lot of modern music in the underground. I love Raphael, so it's nothing to do with my age or anything. It's just, I just think that it's awful. Like the messages and stuff that, I mean, what are you saying? I agree, taste is a privilege, and music was as well, so those were more related before. Now everyone has access, so the average taste is now what you're trying to say. Yeah, you could argue about that as well, Stupat. But I think the problem is the type of stuff that's being promoted to the masses of, for the last probably 50 years or so, I would argue. Just generally, it seems to have been going on a downhill kind of trajectory. But it's one of those subjective things, but some might argue that anything since kind of like jazz and blues and stuff like that has just been kind of going in a more degenerate direction. So you could argue even from the 50s, 60s, things started to go on a downhill trajectory from that in the mainstream music. I just don't vibe. I don't understand like why people are so into these like modern music. I don't know. It's not original. It's not technical. It's garbage. Dua Lipa is super popular, but steals all the rhythms from older songs. Exactly. There's no inspiration anymore. It's just rehashed garbage. A lot of it. Yeah. Hello, Patrick. There's not a lot of thought gone into it. They probably have a lot of, Oh yeah, King Crimson. Yeah, a lot of the old prog bands are, like Pink Floyd. I mean, Now, some might say they could be degenerate as well, I don't know. But I just get a different vibe from that sort of stuff than, say, fucking, yeah, like Dua Lipa or whatever else is out now. Fucking Sabrina Carpenter or something. I mean, like, there's just very, like, blatant sexuality in it all. The videos have become hyper-sexualized. I mean, it's not even just the music, it's the whole culture of it all. That it's just, yeah, what it represents, representing a modern culture towards hypersexualization. When they started doing all these twerking in the videos, and like, it's no longer about great soulful music. It's about, you know, how much booty they can show on a video or how much breast they can show on a video. And yeah, that's been going on for quite a while, but seems to have been ramping up in recent years. Did see a video that claimed that 90% of today's top 40 is written by a handful of writers. Probably. Yeah. Likely. They said the same thing about Elvis, though. Well, probably. Though, Stephen. So what about classical songwriters, or more kind of traditional world music and stuff like that? Like traditional, let's say, tribal music or things like that. Like, I don't think that's been written by some fucking ghostwriter, has it? I mean, like, I think to hear, like, proper, like, authentic music, it might mean going beyond what platforms you would normally use to listen to music. It might mean you have to maybe go out and see live concert, not even live concerts, just small local events going on and things like that, where you're hearing more kind of like, yeah, more raw, authentic stuff. So yeah, the hell you on about, little dog? Hans Zimmer, who's that again? But there was this, like, yeah, YouTuber called Rick Beato, whatever it's called, and, you know, he was, like, being called, like, you know, oh, he's a boomer, he doesn't like modern music, but I think he has a point, though. A lot of it is trash. Even coming from me, and I'm, like, at the end of the millennial generation. I'm almost a Gen Z, so I'm not exactly a old person, am I, you know? I can understand why people think that a lot of this is just garbage, simplified, very, it's just, people are just like, okay, Ilya, like, people just can't be bothered to write good music, it seems a lot of them, they're just, these beats are very simple, very, it might not be that they can't be bothered, it might just be that, more so that people can't be bothered to listen to anything intricate and interesting. Like, their brains have just become so fried that they need just simple beats, because it takes too much thought to think of anything with a odd time signature or something interesting. It all has to be in 4/4 or whatever, because the brains can't be doing with that. It's confusing to the brain or something, because people's brains are too lazy to try and, you know, kind of listen to anything with, you know, maybe it has, say, different syncopations and things like that, and something that would kind of make it interesting to listen to. So yeah, they just make more of what they listen to. We're saying more of what society listens to. So what's made things change? Like, why is it that tastes have just gone to more like simple kind of repetitive music, because it's like, I suppose like when you start getting like stuff like house music and just you're getting all these really repetitive songs and just with no actual substance to them. And I understand that, you know, people want to dance and stuff, but it's like, but even a lot of the modern day pop stuff is been going in that same direction of just repetitive, no kind of like intricate structures, no changes of time signatures, no, not seeing even just that, but just oftentimes not even much depth to the melodies or anything like that. But yet the funny thing is, people will bash on heavy metal, and I would actually argue that some heavy metal actually is more melodic than some of the pop music that we have now. Like, if you listen to some of the old school like heavy metal bands, with like, a lot of them are actually more melodic than some of this modern day pop and trap kind of stuff. But you know, not enough exposure to different genres and obscure stuff. Yeah, everyone's just all kind of being exposed to the same stuff. I suppose in a way it's good that we're moving away from monoculture in a sense, in that way, because people are starting to find other obscure things and they're starting to kind of formulate their own tastes, because they're not being dictated so much by whatever's trending in the charts right now by these record companies, whatever, like that they, and the whatever, you know, the whatever the radios, I mean, the pumping out all these songs and they manufacture stuff to become hits. You know, they'll, you know, pay to have it put on the radio for it to then, but a lot of it comes down to like streams online, and yeah. Anyway, a lot of great music was born out of pain and suffering, hence most of the greatest English rock came from the children of WW2, right? Well, yeah, there is that, like, but that's the thing where the problem, you could argue, is that sometimes that people will, like in music industry, be then encouraged to do more songs about their pain, which might then lead to mental health issues because they're having to relive all these problems. And yeah, that's what it can do to people, is that the cost of all that, where they're going on stage and they're having all these lyrics repeated back to them, constantly being reminded of the problems that they have, that can really fuck them up. Is it any wonder why so many of them actually, I mean, this might be one of the reasons why some of them unalive themselves. Certain times needed powerful anthems. Now our anthem is slop. Oh yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Oh yeah, Sonic 4, no. Didn't realise they were on that, but I used to play the games. Yeah, I used to play the Sonic games. Anyway, hello Dale Welsh. Oh yeah, thank you. Hi Dagon. Today's music is shite, no meaning or soul. Pink Floyd taught us to think more. Yeah, because it had more deeper, intricate lyrics and stuff. Because there was that songs like Another Brick in the Wall, which had the meaning of, like, you know, about the education system and how, you know, it's all kind of, yeah. If you listen to some of their lyrics, even some of the more, like, even some of the more modernish bands like System of a Down, I mean, you could say, well, they're quite mainstream, but even back then when they were around, it was still somewhat better. The lyrics, a lot of the time, had actual meaning. Muse is another example of a band with, like, some deeper lyrics. But oftentimes, these type of bands wouldn't really get the same level of mainstream appeal. They just kind of got lucky, I guess. But a lot of modern bands and modern artists are just kind of, there just isn't any soul, like you said. It's just whatever, Dua Lipa, and you could argue that maybe some of these songs are relatable, like Taylor Swift. You know, you could say, well, they're relatable, but I think that with people like Taylor Swift is that they're playing on their audience. They're playing on that kind of relatability thing. Like, I think they're trying to manipulate and try and sell more records. They're not, because I watched in this video where the thing with Taylor Swift is that she apparently like greets her fans and stuff like that to try and make them feel special or whatever. But it's like, to me, that is probably not some genuine kind of care about your fans. It's more just a like publicity stunt to try and garner more support, to get more of a cult-ish following. I think it's kind of predatory in a way, personally. Yeah. System of a Down, yeah. But, you know, they were like, you know, out in the 2000s, so, which I would argue that's when things were already going downhill with music, but they were, like, good with some of their lyrics and stuff. Like, they had that lyric where it goes, why don't the presidents fight the war? Why do they always send the poor? So it's like, these are actually, like, meaningful lyrics. These are about real-world issues, you know? Like, so that's how I see it, that we don't really hear a lot of lyrics nowadays about bigger picture things. And I don't know, you could argue that, you know, if they're talking about heartbreaks and stuff, that is something that's relatable, and that's relatable to a lot of people. But how many times do we keep hearing heartbreak songs? Why do we need to keep hearing that stuff, you know? It kind of gets a bit old after a while. I mean, we just don't really have a lot of variety in the types of lyrics that they come out with. It's just the same old kind of rehashed kind of themes and stuff, you know? But then it's like, you could say, well, there's nothing new under the sun, but it just gets kind of repetitive, and, oh, it's another heartbreak song, oh, it's, you know, another love song. It's like, okay, at what point are we just going to, like, kind of, you know, stop with this kind of repetitive, predictable formula? They are building a prison, great lyrics, yeah. Do you have the answers to what? Yeah, Muse did some good lyrics, like, for example, they had a song called, what was it? They had a song called Handler, I think it's called, and they were talking about MK Ultra and stuff in it, like, they're talking about things like that, like more kind of conspiracy type stuff, actually, that, like, the government's doing. Like, yeah, some of the themes can get quite political and into territories that a lot of bands won't go into. And what are you talking about? You're talking nonsense about pop groups. Well, I mean, if you disagree, then maybe you can just, like, tell me, like, why I'm wrong, but I just look at the modern music and I'm like, it's just, to me, it's just garbage, you know? No, they're not political. Who's not political? I'm not saying that pop music is political. I'm talking some other artists can put out political music and that is actually related to issues, and it's just, some of it isn't, you know, the same kind of cookie cutter kind of heartbreak songs like a lot of these pop singers do. You know, it's all these same themes around heartbreak or rejection or whatever bullshit. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna be getting off in a little bit, so yeah. Everything gets better in hindsight. The Beatles were absolutely scandalous at times. I guess nothing's perfect. I'd argue that, you know, classical music was kind of, you could argue that was like pure in a way. Because that was before any kind of like agendas or anything were put into music. And hello, EXD Cheesy, how you doing? Welcome in. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. That would be really appreciated. So there's always been problems, but I don't know. I just find that modern music is just uninspired, boring, and just lacks any depth to it, in my opinion. Thank you for subbing. Well, if you don't want to subscribe, Robert, then don't subscribe. Then just leave the live. Then this is your mind after watching one. What are you on about? Keith Woods. Who's Keith Woods? Yeah, it's because people couldn't record their own voice to sell as a record. Well, the first adult movie ever came literally just a few years after the invention of the camera. Humans couldn't human. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but to be honest, I just feel like things have gotten worse. Like the music, I think they've actually done some study on this where they found that the music has gotten dumber over the years. This isn't just me making it up. I'm sure there was some kind of study on this, if I remember, that they actually found that it has progressively gotten dumber, got dumbed down. The lyrics are dumbed down. The instruments are dumbed down. It's easier listening. It's just, you know what I mean? By design. Yeah, but it just seems to be a lot of like resistance to this idea that for some reason people seem to be triggered when I'm making a point about modern music, like it's sort of triggering something in people, like because they don't want to feel like their music is trash or something. I don't know what it is, but why is it that people are having such a knee-jerk reaction to me saying that I think modern music is trash? Now you could say I'm having a knee-jerk reaction to modern music, but this is just my, observation of it, that it's trash. But I guess it's a subjective thing, and now there was somebody in a live stream I did that they were saying that some Doja Cat song helped them with their mental health summit, so maybe there is something good to come from it, but I just feel like on the whole it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know really. It just reflects how people are just so, they're just not willing to really kind of think deeply about things. They're not willing to go beyond the comfort of easy listening, and like people are afraid of breaking norms and challenging status quo and things like that. Yeah, I know, Rick, that's what we're talking about, but maybe we can move on to some other topic or something, because I think we'll just kind of agree to disagree. If people like modern music, that's great for them, I suppose, but yeah. Well, that's the thing with like marketing trends and stuff, but I feel like a lot of it won't have a lasting impact. There's songs from like decades ago that are still today actually doing well. I mean, I do feel like a lot of these modern songs are just going to end up probably not having that sort of like lasting impact. So I remember someone was saying that the last person to really have a big impact, you could argue, was Justin Bieber. Love him or hate him, like as in, he was able to basically cause such a rift in terms of you either loved him or you hated him kind of thing. There wasn't really much in between with it. It was like, and that's how he got famous, and he created, this kind of, he had an impact. But since then there hasn't really been anything. The death of the monoculture. what we're talking about. So anyway, there isn't a single musical figure right now who has stardom. Think about it. Yeah, because you've got people like, say, Sabrina Carpenter, who's like, well, she's not exactly going to be like, in 5 years' time, she probably won't even be relevant. Because a lot of them, once they get a bit older, because a lot of it's all to do with their sex appeal or whatever, right? In a few years' time, most of them become irrelevant. I mean, I think it was like Nicki Minaj, I think she's probably quite irrelevant at this point, right? I've not heard from her for a while, so a lot of them are, becoming increasingly irrelevant. Like a lot of these ones, I mean, isn't Dua Lipa even probably becoming, it's like even to people like Taylor Swift, they've kind of like, well, they were relevant for a while, but they're only like, they have these really hardcore fans, but her new music just isn't really having any impact anymore. And then you've got, say, people like Miley Cyrus, for example. They might have the odd hit here and there, but not the same kind of, as what they used to, maybe. Like, same with, Katy Perry's another one as well. Like, not really much impact anymore, just kind of. And even Adele, she's, I don't know what happened with Adele really, but a lot of these singers, they just kind of, once the novelty wears off, it seems they just kind of, but you had people like Michael Jackson, king of pop, and massive kind of, Madonna, or, like Michael Jackson, those were like kind of, those were like, really like, influential, probably the most influential of musicians that just, What do you mean? That music will stop the next extinction event? What do you mean? What you're saying? Sacrifice a few lives to say what you meant about. So many innuendos and kids are singing. Yeah, this is what I mean with all these sexual references and kids being exposed to these things. It's like this stuff being normalized, and I'm just saying it seems to be becoming more and more kind of degenerate, and I don't know, but people can say, oh, well, it's always been like that, but I just feel like things have, ramped up in recent times, like Cardi B. I mean, there's a few that are just, pushing out a lot of, I hate to keep using the word degenerate because I think it might be a bit of an overused word, but it's just, what I mean is just stuff with like a lot of sexual references and promoting things like promiscuity and just kind of, to me, like, this whole thing of hypersexuality is then leading to just kind of, in my opinion, it's probably causing, or at least part of the cause for like people to be kind of just not taking dating seriously. They're just kind of seeing people as just a kind of commodity or something that they can just use. That's kind of what it seems to be kind of promoting a lot of the time, is this kind of, this idea of like, use or be used kind of idea that, oh, well, either, use somebody or be used by somebody. Well, I suppose that's been, it kind of reminds me a bit of that song, isn't it? That, I'm just making some food, so I'm just going to sort that out real quick. But, I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, but I just don't like a lot of these lyrics and the themes of it, and just the whole culture around it all, because it just doesn't feel wholesome. But anyway, there's sacred sounds. Well, what do you mean sacred sound? Hello, the Northern Kid fan. How you doing tonight, everybody? You know, everyone's going to have their own opinion, but it's just... I guess if you're down with all the fucking bullshit, then you're going to like it, right? But maybe I'm just old-fashioned. Maybe I'm a boomer. I'm like a boomer in a millennial's body or something, I don't know. Millennial, whatever you want to call me. Glad you're on late. Yeah, I've been on a lot lately, so just making some food. Yeah, how are you doing, Dagon, anyway? Good to see you. Hit that like button, everybody. Share the live if you can. Vedic chants. Oh yeah, I've heard stuff like... I mean, I've not actually listened to much of it, but there's things like throat singing and stuff like that, where it's about frequencies and stuff, and like throat singing, I've heard, is really good for you. We're creating vibrations. When you sing, you create vibrations. Also, things like Tibetan bowls. So actually, this could be good for your health. So it's like music should be like a sort of therapeutic thing, I would say. But yeah, maybe it's your internet, acetone. Anyway, or did it? I don't know. Maybe it did then. I don't know what's going on with this fucking internet. It's bullshit half the time, really, but this fucking internet can be a fucking joke at times. So I don't know, but that just happens sometimes. It's just tough, innit, really? Tough shit, you know? Shit happens, it's just, you know. Such is life, eh? Anyway, hit that like button, everybody. Share the live out if you can. Yeah. Anyway. I don't know how long I'm going to be on. Probably another 10, 15 minutes, maybe, something like that. Yeah, good for healing. I was talking earlier about, Tibetan bowls, and what else is there? Yeah, sometimes they use them in, like, those type of sounds in the guided meditations and stuff. And even things like nature sounds are good. So even not just musical sounds, but also just, hello, Morsulon. What does that mean? YouTube AI test. Okay. Well, if I'm saying anything bullshit, then maybe you should just, like, say why what I'm saying is bullshit, then maybe something like that, eh? But that's up to you, I guess. Anyway, whatever. Steel pan's very calming. Oh yeah. I remember there was people claiming that cast iron pans is good for iron or something, but I've heard that that's bullshit or something. Yeah, so let's have a look and see what it says. Do cast iron pans give you iron? Let's see what it says on here, because I remember someone said that it's bullshit, and but it says it can increase iron content in your food and boost your dietary, but it's saying it's small amounts of iron leach from the pan into your food during the cooking process, providing a beneficial and natural source of iron. This is particularly useful for combating iron deficiency, anemic. Well, I mean, so maybe there is something, but it did say here that it can increase food iron content by up to 16%. I suppose it can help a bit, but yeah. But it says here it's non-heme iron. It's not absorbed as efficiently as iron from meat, but it's still beneficial. But I've heard though that heme iron can actually be dangerous if consumed in high amounts, because the body can get too much iron or something. Okay, white bread. How you doing tonight, everybody? Hope you're well. So yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're new here, everybody. That would be really appreciated. I wonder where Susie's been today, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully she's not just going to, like, stop coming because of the trolls or something, but it's just that the only reason I don't ban them is because, like I said, you know, if I banned all the trolls, then I'd lose probably more than half of my audience. So that's just, it is what it is. I just have to kind of take the rough with the smooth with this thing and just, if they start getting too ridiculous, then I'll, time them out and stuff, but other than that, it's, you know what I mean? Hi, those. Okay. Hang on. Super CP man, hello. Hello, look left Leon. No, I don't play rugby. I mean, you're just on about, like, my frame or something. Yeah, how you doing tonight, everybody? Time for tea. You're off to have some tea now or something. Well, you take care then. Anyway, hope everyone's had a great day. Again, if anyone's new here, welcome to the channel. Assume differently. What you mean, assume differently? Or you're not going yet or something, or what do you mean? Anyway, so the question is, can money buy happiness, is what I was saying, and yeah, so that's the thing. Can it buy happiness? Let's have a look. What is people saying? Hello, Sacred. Any words of wisdom for today? Good question. So let's, 54% say yes, so it's split. Alright, words of wisdom. I would say just kind of, I would say, like, let me think. It's hard for me to kind of like come up with something on the spot. You have to give me some time to think about that, really. For an actual good bit of wisdom, I don't know. I don't like when people just try and put me on the spot, so yeah. Anyway, hope everyone's well. Do you know each other, guys, or something, or... Anyway. Thank you for joining me tonight, everybody. Hit that like button, if you don't mind. Yeah, what are your plans for the weekend, everybody? Almost weekend already. Yeah. Hello, ASD. I don't have a religion. It can't buy happiness, but it can make you happy. I'd be more happy with a lot of money, knowing unforeseen circumstances might not be as detrimental. Yeah. Well, there is that where it might stop you from, like, basically, like, if you don't have a lot of money, then if there's a, like you said, unforeseen circumstance, that could be completely decimate you financially, and you could be pretty much destitute. You heard of the classic rave band that burned 1 million in cash on video? Crazy story. Oh, really? That's crazy. Why would they do that? See family Sunday. Oh, that's what you're going to do on Sunday. All right. Oh, cool. Yeah. Hope you enjoy that then. Though with the way things are now, money is more important than anything. Why? No, sorry, I'm not ignoring you. What you're saying, Sacred. Have I missed something? Yeah. Hang on a second. You're just using the G word again. Like, let's just get rid of this annoying shit out the chat, Right. Okay. No, we don't need any of that shit. Okay. I hope everyone's well tonight. I'm getting the trolls in here again by the looks of it. Yeah. What's some political statement? What do you mean? Anyway, 13 people in here. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're well tonight. Yeah, nice to have you all here tonight. So if you're watching, say hello and let me know you're there. Yeah. 85 votes on the... What's some political statement? Are you on about, can money buy happiness, or what are you talking about? Yeah. Hello, Ellis. Oh yeah, I'm British, yeah. How you doing, Ellis? Welcome in here. Hope you had a good day today. Have a drink. Anyway, any more questions? Beam me up, Scotty. It sounds like beat me up, Scotty, is what I always thought of it like. Not sure what motivated them entirely, but they're called the KLF. What's KLF? I don't know what that is. No, I don't know what that is, sorry. Okay, whatever, 8K, okay. I keep getting these comments, it's just kind of just gets annoying, all the same fucking bullshit. Oh, you look like Zelensky, you look like... Oh, it's just draining. I don't know. Anyway, whatever, you know. It's like someone put in Gravity Core Fitness's live the other night that he looked like a cross between, what was it, somebody and Mr. Bean or something. It's like, you're always going to get these ridiculous comments, aren't you? So, whatever. Just got to deal with it, I guess. Anyway, are we alright, everybody? Hope you've all had a good day. The resistance is exhausting, yeah, no. They're just people with just kind of low vibrations, I think. You got some serious paper in the bank, I can tell. Oh, really? How would you know that? I'm just gonna like get rid of the fucking comments. It's just annoying. Just being annoying. I don't know, it's just draining. Where are all the real people at here? Let's get some real people in here, eh? I might have to try and share my channel out to some genuine real people. Maybe we try and build them up. So it's not mostly just trolls or something. It's just, no, I don't support communism. I was actually talking to someone earlier about this. I mean, I guess mine would be somewhat nuanced and kind of like, I can agree with some parts of capitalism, but also agree that it can go to extreme and when it's not regulated, and there also needs to be more, like, I think workers should be paid more fairly and things like that, but like we could go on all night about the nuances of politics and stuff when it comes to the economy. Hello, Deliberation, I'm from the UK, where are you from? Like, there's a whole bunch of nuance and complication to it all, really, isn't there? So we can go on and on and on about it, but at the end of the day, it's like we should all be able to come to agree that, you know, there is something fundamentally wrong with this, the way that this system is. But I think if you don't agree with that, then you're probably somebody that benefits from the system, I would say. I mean, Zionism is what I understand it is, like kind of where people are wanted homeland for Israel or something. I mean, this is where it's kind of like the whole thing of like being against Palestine or something is kind of how I sort of understand it to be, and that what they mean is they basically persecuting Palestinians or something. I mean, that I could be wrong with that, but I wouldn't want to support something that is trying to ethnically cleanse. But no, we don't hate India, no. Hello, Rosalina. No, I'm not reading from AI. Hello, Satan, okay, what are you saying? Monty Python isn't funny, well, that's like your opinion. Hope you've all had a good day, everybody. Hit that like button, everyone. Why is the like so slow in here tonight? To 12 likes after well over an hour. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. Paddy, I don't know who that is. Hello, Cherry Arrowwood. I was talking about music before and how I feel like a lot of this modern music is just kind of bland and boring. Okay, whatever. I don't know who that is. I don't watch MMA. Or Carl Jung, have you found something interesting? Because he's like a psychologist or something, and yeah, it might be interesting to look into some of his stuff. Have you ever looked at someone called Eckhart? Was it called Eckhart Tolle, whatever it's called, or Eckhart? I don't know how you pronounce it, but Jordan Peterson. I mean, I think he's got some like yes, the shadow. All right. Jordan Peterson. I think he's got a few good things to say, but I don't agree with everything. Hello, Gio. Hello, Walu. So like, yeah, Eckhart Tolle. What is he known for? Power of Now, Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. So it's more like spiritual kind of stuff. Wasn't he on fucking like Russell Brand or something? Because I know like Russell Brand has been talking about spirituality, but then he's been kind of called into question on his own kind of past and stuff. But like, some say that he's learned from his mistakes. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, I used to watch Russell Brand quite a bit actually. I used to watch some of his videos on the whole kind of political stuff. But some might say he's a grifter and he's just he's pivoted sides to kind of like more right-wing people, like more in favor of people like Donald Trump or whatever, when he used to be like very much like, well, I think he still said that he was like anti-capitalist, so he wasn't like completely right-wing. Well, people were saying he was going to the right-wing, but I think he's always said that he believes in a more fair system. And yeah, we need to cut. What you mean? Brand is a tosser, right? I mean, yeah. It's just I do feel like some of these people are probably like they'll pivot sides when it kind of fits. They will go wherever makes them more money, I guess, if they feel like they can get something out of it. They'll see it as an opportunity, but I don't think he probably genuinely actually, is really that invested in the actual, political stuff. It just is more of a virtue signal or whatever, and I don't know. Hello, Earl Portu. Do you support tolerating? No, I mean, as in like, if people have these beliefs, and it's like, but I think that you could argue in terms of freedom of speech and stuff, but it's like, you could argue these things should be out in the open and allow people to kind of express these things, but we shouldn't be kind of like normalizing it, I don't think, no, because that's not normal to have, fascist beliefs, is it? I mean, that's just kind of extreme, but what actual percentage of people have those beliefs? But I think that if you really have those beliefs, then I think there's something wrong there. I mean, but that's just my thoughts on that is. The I mean, what are you talking about? I was thinking methylene. There's a thing called methylene blue. Has anyone heard of it? Some people apparently have had some potential health benefits from taking methylene blue in certain conditions, like depending on whatever medications they're taking, they might not want to take it, but some people saying that it can help improve, like oxidative stress and things like that, and that can help with certain problems in the body, and I've heard it can help with altitude sickness or something like that, things like that really, but I looked a bit into it, but it's a synthetic product, and I'm a bit reluctant to Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd want to use it myself necessarily, but someone told me that they used it and it helped them with their brain fog. So, if it worked for him, I don't know if it's placebo or whatever, but he at least noticed some improvement to that. Who's Chase Hughes? I don't know who that is. But yeah, Eckhart Tolle was like, where's he from? It's Germany, yeah. Yeah, so there's the other guy called, there was somebody else called, what's he called? What was this guy called? I'm trying to remember, what was he called? There was another guy I'm trying to remember the name of. Who's like a kind of more spiritual guy. I think I might have watched some video of this guy. What was he called? I remember there was this thing called Gaia, and some people might say it's some kind of... Was it Gaia? It was one of those anyway. Well, I think some of these things might have some... I don't know if there's some charlatans or not, but... Because there was this thing called Mind Valley or something, and it was some kind of spiritual awakening thing or whatever, but it's like... I don't know how trustworthy some of these subscription things are. It's kind of like a TV channel type of thing with like, where they upload like different shows to it and stuff. Kind of almost like a Netflix, but for like fucking hippies or something. What was it called, the guy I'm trying to remember the name of? Joe Dispenza, that was the guy. Have you heard of him? Joe Dispenza. Yeah, Joe Dispenza. He was, talking about more kind of like spiritual type of stuff as well. But I think he did some stuff on Gaia, which is like some kind of subscription thing that you have to pay monthly for or something. Kind of like a Netflix subscription type of thing. But they have different people putting up like episodes on it and stuff. It's just, sometimes I would get ads pop up on YouTube or whatever, and it would be promoting this type of stuff. It would promote things like, I had one promoting manifestation, I think, as well, a while ago, and it was talking about aligning with frequencies or something like that. Never pay for truth, it's inside all of us. Yeah, I feel like a lot of it's just kind of gatekeeping and shit like that, because I think a lot of this is just like a bunch of, in my opinion, charlatans who act like they have superior knowledge and all this kind of crap. But in reality, they're just putting it behind a paywall. But yeah, maybe in some cases you can just, you could have it inside you already. That it's just you have to search deep within for it, doing the inner work. Yeah, Joe Dispenza healed his own smashed spine. Really? How did that happen? Oh no, it's just I'm a bit skeptical of these things. It's like some people oftentimes, I feel like sometimes they exaggerate certain things, and they always need to have some kind of story. Like oh, I started off with like, £17 in my bank or something, and then I became a millionaire, but it's like they used this secret strategy. But it's like, if it's such a secret strategy, why are they telling everybody? Like these get-rich-quick gurus. Because you really think that all these billionaires, whatever, they're going to tell you their secret strategy? Fuck no. The way that they got rich is by selling courses, a lot of these people. So, trying to make you think that, that, and anyway, but I digress. But what's this father of mindfulness? Who are you talking about? Father of mindfulness. How are you today, actually? I'm alright, thank you, mermaid. How are you? So just talking about, with this whole thing of these spiritual and mindfulness people, and how much of them are actually legit. How much of them are actually not just grifters, and
and they're actually legit. Because you've got people like Sadhguru and all these sort of people, and I feel like Sadhguru is probably not legit personally, but yeah, I don't think he's probably that legit, is he? What you guys think? I remember there was some guy, what was he called? Eric Ho, I think he was called. He was one of these like law of attraction manifestation people. I don't think he was probably genuine either. I think he was probably like, yeah, I doubt he's really genuine. But who knows? I mean, it's just, there's people who make claims like that they can make somebody text you, oh, if you just think these words, your specific person will text you and stuff like that. I mean, who do you think's a fraud? But we've got to be careful who we call a fraud and stuff. All I can say is allegedly, or I think this, or something like that. So I have to be careful, because who knows? Because you know what happens. I mean, it's unlikely with a small channel, but it just gets ridiculous. But yeah, a lot of these people, like, have you heard of Eric Hall? Like, he was one of these saying that, oh, if you just, think these words, then your specific person will suit your message. I mean, like we were talking about this the other day about charlatans and stuff like that, and in my opinion, that's the category that they'd probably come in under. Because it's like there's a lot of confirmation bias in like the comment section where they're like, oh, I just thought of it, and pop, this person. It's like, for example, let's say someone says they have a secret strategy to help you win the lottery. What they do is they delete all of the comments of people who it didn't work for. So let's say they get thousands of people, all kind of take part in it. Now, chances are a few of them will be basically win it. Well, they'll win. They'll maybe get 2 or 3 numbers out of the 6 as a match. So my point is that they could use a few testimonials as proof, but hide all of the evidence that it doesn't work. What's that? Yeah, he called his self-master. You on about Eric Hall or something, or which one? I feel like with everything going on someone's life, people need to feel guided or believe in something, whether it's reality or made up. It's something comforting for some people. I get that in terms of like religion and all that. Like I said, if it gives you comfort, then okay, fair enough. But it's just, I can't seem to get myself round to feeling like that if there is basically like a personal God, a God that has created us all, who can intervene and blah, 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 why they would allow all the evil in the world. Now, that's just how I think about it all, really. What's that? Naster? What do you mean, Naster? Yeah. There's a few like that. There's, there was this channel called Manifest with Matt, I think it's called. And he just, almost every video, it's some kind of thing, think of this affirmation and your specific person will show up in some way or whatever. Whether it's a text, a call, whatever. It's like, nah, I don't think so. God is within everything and everyone, right? Yeah, hello, okay. Well, that's the thing, because they say God is everywhere, therefore God has to be within you. Therefore you're not separate from God then in that case. But what are your thoughts on, hello, the real you, Kudot, how you doing? The word good and God are almost identical, same as the word devil and evil. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Like, you add one letter onto one, and you take a letter from the one. to make those words. So it's like, it's just interesting, isn't it, that I think of it more in terms of like, you could call it frequencies or whatever, and vibrational frequencies, like good, like like love and all that, and gratitude as being on that side. Then you've got resentment, hate, bitterness, and envy, all these negative things on the evil side. You know what I mean? It's as an Italian raised as Catholic, I totally get what you're saying, because I think it's completely insanity and bullshit. They praise humanity while asking money. Yeah, that's the thing is, has anyone looked into a thing called mega churches? Has anyone heard of mega churches? Because I was watching some documentary on that, on mega churches and how big that whole thing is. Literally, these churches can have over 2,000 people in them. It's crazy. And they're literally just giving their money away, being told that if they give them this money, that they'll come back to them in some way. It's just very, it sounds very predatory, and they're preying on people's kind of faith, and, you know, yeah. It's just, to me, it's just disgusting that people will go to these lengths to make money out of people. So these people probably don't even believe in any of that stuff that they're preaching to people. That you'll see them driving around in a fucking Bentley or something, and whilst the people that are worshipping that religion are actually being depleted of money. So, yeah. What you mean all the way up? What you're saying? I'm all the way up. What do you mean? What you're on about? Anyway, is everybody all right tonight? But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of these fake people, in my opinion. They're trying to just suck money out of people. They want to come across like they're these innocent people trying to help humanity, help people to ascend or whatever, to increase their vibration or whatever, or improve their vibration or whatever. It's like, but really they're just there to exploit. It's just, I don't know. What are your thoughts? There was this book called The Secret. Maybe I should look into it just to see what it says, because there's been mixed thoughts on that, right? Because I heard that Conor McGregor used The Secret to actually manifest becoming a champion, fighter or whatever. It's like, you read it, did you? So did you get anything out of it then? Because some people are saying it's just a bunch of charlatan BS or something, but it wore off after 2 weeks. What do you mean it wore off after 2 weeks? But this is what some people are saying, that it's charlatan BS, but I just think that, I'd have to read it first. The mindset. That's the problem, is that then you could argue it comes down to you whether you can keep up that mindset. It's just that could be a problem of like not seeing instantaneous results. That's a problem that I have, is that I could get into a certain mindset, and then if I don't see results quickly, then I could easily fall off. That's why I love Neville. Why is that then? Is it just, I don't know what is the difference between Neville and, say, The Secret or something. But some say it's the difference between law of attraction and law of assumption or something, because they say with law of assumption you assume the wish fulfilled rather than trying to attract something that is external, because they were saying how basically the brain is like, it's like a transmitter where the reality that you want already exists. it's just you have to tune into it sort of thing, is how some people see it as, where it's like we are able to tune in, to, like transmit into different frequencies. It's kind of like a radio station where you can tune into different frequencies of radio. Like you can tune into 98.7, you know, hertz or whatever it's called. It's like tune into different stations at different frequencies. It's like your brain will tune into different, like subconsciously tuning into, into different realities or something. Teaches you the operant power, right? So practice on consistency, always approaching each day as a small step. But I guess it's this whole idea of, you know, being in the end state. I guess that's something as a way to kind of keep you motivated, as like, if you feel like you're already in the end state, if you have that mindset, that whole, well, some might call it fake it till you make it, or LARPing. You know, some people do that as a way to live in the end state. Like if you want to become rich, then you need to embody being rich, as in like having that certain swagger about you, that you have this certain confidence, as though you already have that thing. So you're going to project out a certain energy, and people will start to see that and be like, oh, this person seems successful. They might start gravitating towards you, and you start to get opportunities come your way. So that's how I would see it, you know, kind of possibly that's the mechanism or something. A lot of it could be your aura or something, and that could be picked up on subconsciously, that someone has a certain aura, that even if they haven't got that in this 3D reality, whatever, that the other person might kind of perceive them as somebody, even if it's like a subconscious thing that it would affect them or something. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on subconsciously with, like, you put out a certain aura or something. It could even be things like pheromones or something that could be given off. Like if you're somebody who's, you know, I mean, there's the thing of like certain scents and things that you put off. These are things that you could register. Like there are things that, like some people talk about the sixth sense and all that, and there might be things beyond what we can perceive in this reality, you know, on a conscious level, but subconsciously it might have an effect on people. What we're saying with this disease that is slowly destroying my entire body, if willpower and mindset could change anything, I'd be the healthiest person in the world. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's 100%. This is what I mean. This is why I argue sometimes with. I'm just saying that if you have the ability to do something, if you have the ability to get to a certain point in life, and it's within the realms of possibility, then you should probably assume that you're there. There are certain things that are not within your control, and you shouldn't try to focus on you know, trying to, you know, reverse things that are irreversible, you know. So we have to be realistic with our goals, is what I'm saying. So yeah, I should have probably said that, but yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what you would say, Stargazer, about that, but yeah. Yeah, no one's going to be a millionaire overnight. That is not realistic. This can take time. It's like being in the end state is not something that you can just switch suddenly into. It requires work and dedication, because that's oftentimes the thing that people miss out of the context. Hang on, I'm going to have to go, guys. 1% battery, so I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Alright, farmers. Yeah, cool. See you later, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.